Russian shipbuilder Admiralty Shipyards launched Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky improved Kilo-class submarine in a March 28th ceremony in St. Petersburg. The Russian Kilo-class submarine is nothing new. It's been around in some form or another since the 1980s, but the class has seen continuous improvement over the years. The latest incremental update of Kilo-class is Project 636.3. Russia has now been marketing the submarines of this variant of the Kilo-class as the quietest in the world. The first 6 units of the Project 636.3 were built for the Black Sea Fleet. Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky is the first to be built for the Vladivostok-based Pacific Fleet. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why the latest improved Russian Kilo-class submarine, Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, is considered so lethal. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by the free-to-play military vehicle combat game War Thunder. We talk a lot about military vehicles on this channel, but what about trying them out for yourself? In War Thunder, you can choose from more than 1,200 playable vehicles from the 1930s to the 1990s and go to battle on more than 80 theaters of war. You can fly aircraft, helicopters, drive tanks, and command ships of all types and sizes, which have been carefully recreated from their real-world counterparts. It's available as a free download on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One with cross-platform support. So grab your friends and give it a try. All viewers of Defense Updates that register using the link in the description below will also get a free premium tank or aircraft and 3 days of premium account time as a bonus. The Kilo-class submarines have a length of around 70 to 74 meters, a displacement of 2,300 to 2,350 tons when surfaced and over 3,000 to 4,000 tons when submerged. So these submarines are relatively small. For example, the American Virginia class has a length of 115 meters and displaces around 7,900 tons. The small profile is a well-thought-out design decision by Russia and makes the submarine hard to detect. It's propelled by a diesel-electric system that has 5,900 shaft horsepower, 4,400 kilowatt power output. Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, like all improvised Kilo-class, has a max speed of 10 to 12 knots, that's 18 to 22 kilometers per hour when surfaced, and 17 to 25 knots, or 31 to 46 kilometers per hour when submerged. The submarine has an impressive range of 7,500 nautical miles, 13,900 kilometers, with snorkel, and 400 nautical miles, or 740 kilometers, when submerged. Let's understand this clearly. When cruising on the surface or just below the surface, the diesel engine drives the vessel. It intakes air through a snorkel tube and discharges exhaust. During this time, the batteries are charged. When completely submerged, the diesel engines are stopped as it cannot be run without fresh air. In the fully submerged mode, a diesel submarine runs on electric propulsion using its storage batteries. The maximum depth of Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky is thought to be 300 meters, though exact details are kept under wraps. The class is reported to have a 45 days sea endurance. Though Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky has a compact profile, the submarine possesses an excellent armament, which includes 1. 6 533mm torpedo tubes for a total of 18 torpedoes. 2. 4 caliber or club missile for land attack, anti-ship missile, and anti-submarine role. 3. 24 mines. 4. 8 Strela 3 or 8 Igla 1 surface-to-air missiles. Kilo-class submarines are mainly intended for anti-shipping and anti-submarine operations in relatively shallow waters, so the design has more emphasis on accommodating a good quantity of torpedoes. Here's an incident from 2017 that indicates how tough it is to detect the improved Kilo-class submarine. Russia had warned NATO that Krasnodar, which has the same configuration as Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, would be passing through blue waters of the Mediterranean toward the Black Sea, which will be its home. NATO knew the new submarine was passing by, and new submarines are items of keen interest since information could be useful in any future conflict. How noisy is it? What are its unique sound signatures? How long can its batteries last? Does it carry any new equipment? Several specialist NATO anti-submarine frigates were following, determined to find out. The nuclear-powered aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush put its sea-scanning Seahawk helicopters to the task, as was a flight of new P-8 Poseidon sub-hunting aircraft based in Italy. But the Russians weren't going to play. The submarine had traveled on the surface, in plain sight, through the North Sea from Russia's northern naval bases. NATO warships, including Britain's HMS Somerset, kept a watchful eye on it, waiting for it to submerge. But it didn't. At least not until it reached Libya, where Russia's defense ministry abruptly warned international airlines that it would be taking part in military exercises off the coast. It was part of a sales pitch to Egypt and others who were in the market for modern, quiet, and conventionally powered submarines. NATO lost Krasnodar in the middle of the exercises, and out of the blue, on May 29th, a series of cruise missiles tore through the air towards targets around Syria's besieged city of Palmyra. They were Russian missiles, and they came from the Krasnodar. The submarine was able to move from Libya to Syria, a distance of more than 2,000 kilometers, undetected, even with a significant number of NATO assets trying to track it. This changed how the improved Kilo class is looked upon by the world. Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, being an improved Kilo-class submarine, poses a serious challenge to the US and NATO. Comparatively much cheaper than American supercarriers, but these can still threaten the prized asset of US Navy, Nimitz, and Ford-class warships. This is where Russia is good at developing asymmetric weapons through which it can put up a fight against an adversary like America, whose defense budget at more than $700 billion is around 10 times the Russian budget. Russian submarine activities have spiked since 2008, and the addition of Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky will add to the Russian Navy's capability.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.